We are going to start shortly the talk about dragging out and failing agile transformations. Okay, Justina told a little bit about me. I'm a professional Scrum trainer. I'm an accredited trainer, and I'm the Agile consultant and help people, organizations, product owners, Scrum Masters, leaders deliver value and change the organization. Okay. So, what do you think? How many agile transformations fail? Ideas? A lot. A lot. And we can also discuss what does it mean that agile transformation fails, what it means. Of course, we can say that they are not delivering value. They are not reducing the error. For example, time to market. But of course, not only this. It's not only about time to market. Of course, it's about delivering value. What kind of value? Value for customers, but also business value. Business value means, of course, or cost saving, or avoidance, or just simply revenue. Yeah. So this is the first thing we need to measure, right? Measure. I've been cooperating with, I counted, 74 organizations. This research I did on about 50 organizations I cooperated with. So that's a lot. However, I believe it's not enough, of course. There are several reasons, and I'm going to share here only 12. I chose only 12 reasons, but there are more, much more reasons. Okay, so how many agile transformations fail? You said a lot. Yes, according to several researchers other than my researches, is between 47 and 96%. Depends how we define the failure, right? We need to define it, of course. But I mentioned before, what you need to do, you need to measure it, of course. At the end of the talk, I'm going to share also some remedies, potential remedies for your failures or not failures. We'll see. We'll see. So the first question is, are you in the process of transforming your organization towards agility? Hands up. Yes. Do you think you are successful? Of course. Good. Good to hear. Hope it would be helpful for you to see some reasons. And now think that agile transformation never ends. It is the ongoing process of improvement, process of changes. And think about it, because when it comes to your transformation, sometimes people can ask you, when we will be done, and you don't know, because you need to change and change over and over again. It's never done. So don't treat it as a final state. Rather, think about continuous improvements and measure it, and measure and again measure. Okay, let's move to those reasons. I promise you that we will be moving to reasons. And think about also transformation that requires changes on 3 levels. On the level of mindset, level of strategy, and level of operational. What do you think? Which level is the most important? Mindset. Right. Mindset. Without changing mindset, we can go through not only 12 reasons I'm going to share, we can go through 1,000 reasons. So this is something that you need to pay attention to. You need to pay attention to changing mindset in your agile environment, especially when some of your environment is not completely agile. Just need to think about it. What I can do from my position, regardless if I am a Scrum Master, regardless if I am a product owner or agile leader or director or C-level, how to change my mindset and my coworkers' mindset. Strategy, of course, is important. And operational, this is where the most agile transformations, where they are stuck in operational. So we are doing several things, and mindset remains the same, and there is no strategy. Okay, so reasons. As I mentioned before, 12. There are more. I chose just 12 reasons. I met just at most. Okay, so the first reason is indifferent C-level. They are not engaged or they are just don't care. This is something that is why I put it as number one. Because without engaged C-level or decision makers. They can be decision makers, they can be side leader, you can call it differently. But without decision makers, actually, you will do nothing with your organization, especially on the strategy level. Let's imagine you are going to change the organizational structure, and how are you going to do this without a decision? Of course, unless if you are working in some holacracy or turquoise organization, like a teal organization. Of course, when you have direct contact with C-level and your organization is not very large. But let's right now think about like larger organization, like for example, a few thousand people on board. And think about it, how you can change this organization. Sometimes structure is needed to be changed in the organization. So for example, moving from projects into products. And how are you going to do this without engaged C-level or decision makers, as I mentioned before? Okay, so do you have your or C-level or decision makers engaged, really engaged in the transformation? Hands up. Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. 1 person, 2 people. Yeah. Hopefully that would be some inspiration for you. How to engage your decision makers. I know it's not very easy task to do. It's not, but you can right now think how I'm going to do this and how I can be successful without them being engaged. Maybe you will be, but this is what you can do when you meet this situation. It's easier, smoother, and faster when you have those people engaged. And low focus on value and customers. This is the second very common reason I've met very often. So people only deliver features. It's called featureosis. This is the term I coined, the featureosis. So this is delivering features without paying attention to value. And this is another reason that your agile transformation can be dragging out and failing because you don't deliver value. And this is the value that we are striving for. And without value, what we have, what's left, just delivery, just number of items delivered. So when you increase your value delivered, not only number of items delivered, that might be something that you can show to your decision makers to convince them that Agile approach is really working. The third one, it is hierarchy and culture. It's connected, of course, like disengagement from the C-level, like low value of customers, and then hierarchy. Of course, they are not separately stated. They are just together connected. Silos. Silos. This is what also I meet very often when we have silos in organizations. So what you can observe there, it is like a top-down approach, lots of micromanagement instead of agile leadership that should be like engaging, should be motivating, should be delegating. But it's not. It's completely different. And it's a kind of discouragement. This is what I've noticed very often. But people are just in such an environment, they are discouraged to make changes at all. So they think, okay, I cannot do anything. I'm not empowered enough. This is one silo and another silo. There is a micromanagement. And I'm not able to make any changes actually in my organization. So how many of you are frustrated at this moment in such a way? Some of you, some of you. I'm happy, but not everyone. I'm happy. This talk is not to discourage you, but to give you some power, some inspiration, and rethink. Maybe you will be inspired after all and think about, okay, this is the kind of hierarchy I'm in, so how I will be able to change it, because there is always something, always, but you can actually change. So here is also organizational structure, and the organizational structure under hierarchy and under those circumstances that we can face in the organization. So that's something that we can change. And again, without engaged and involved, really involved C-level, you cannot probably change quickly everything. There are some, from my experience, there are some transformations taking over 10, 12 years, and there are no significant results after all. That's interesting, right? They devoted 12 years or even 15 years and small tweaks and improvements, right? So that's worrying. This is a dragging out transformation. I'm not saying that the transformation of the organization is possible in like 1 month, 2 months. There are some pros and cons of evolution approach or just revolution approach, of course. But you can think, what would be most helpful for me, evolutionary approach or revolutionary approach? Just think about it. Be careful with evolution, because you cannot observe many changes very quickly and people just get frustrated. Okay, the fourth reason is empiricism, or rather lack of empiricism. And this is kind of low understanding of empiricism and why Agile. And it is connected, as you maybe have noticed before, with mindset, with this level, mindset level, right? Lack of proper mindset, lack of understanding. I know we are talking a lot. Stephanie, today, during her talk, she just was discovering also a lot about empiricism. But this is so important. That's why many trainers, coaches, and consultants, we emphasize it, because this is the opportunity for the organization and for people to inspect and adapt and to improve and to adapt and so on and so on. So without empiricism and understanding it, that would be the very mechanical implementation of Agile, just in general, as a term, right? It can be Scrum, can be Less Framework, can be Nexus, can be Kanban coming from Lean, but everything will be mechanical. So you will be delivering. And again, we are coming back to low focus on value and customers. So those things are connected, kind of. The fifth reason, it's middle management. You know that the middle management, according to not only my research, I've mentioned before on over 50 organizations, but also according to other research, middle management is the most common reason of dragging out and failing agile transformation. Yes, middle management. Yeah, very interesting. How many of you are here from middle management? So pay attention to it. You can also share to your colleagues, coworkers about this kind of reason of dragging out and failing agile transformation. So this is something that is connected with fear. Fear of what? Losing power. Losing power. Also fear of change. Also fear of losing control. Yeah, it's kind of connected with power. And this is what we need to do to work with those people who are or frustrated or fearful and help them understand that we are not going to hurt them. Right? We are not going to hurt them. We are going to change the organization, not to hurt people. We are going to help the organization, not to hurt people. So that's a very difficult job to do, and actually that can be another talk about it, probably. And project-oriented organization. This is something that we can also discuss, because when we are delivering projects, this is kind of different approach. And when we need empiricism, when we are in complex or uncertain environment, maybe delivering projects is not the best approach we have. Of course, just rethink it, because here, maybe I'm not right, because I don't know your exact situation. I know those organizations I cooperated with, and I know that for them, it's better if they moved to product-oriented organization, or will be better, because this is what they are doing at this moment, changing the structure, changing organization, and create very simple, even in corporate environment, very simple structure with products, not projects, but products. When we think about continuous delivery of those products, and when we think about delivering value, it's even easier to calculate value when it comes to products versus projects. So also rethink it. And again, without decision makers, how are you going to change the structure, right? Yeah? Everything connected, everything connected. Good. 7. Yeah? Are you tired? Hopefully not, hopefully not. Still a few reasons more and remedies. So transparency and trust. Yesterday we had a workshop, short workshop on the similar topic. Of course, we couldn't discuss everything because we had no time for everything to discuss and to practice. But what we discovered as one of the most important and first things, that was lack of transparency and trust that can impede agile transformation, that can impede and put it on this level that it's dragging out. So work on transparency and trust. Probably you've heard it very often, maybe during this conference or other conferences, but this is what is really needed and important to just come over. And war between departments. This is kind of thing that we have, for example, business versus IT. I still can observe it in organizations I cooperate with. Wars between departments, or this is a finance department, they don't understand us, IT, or this is the marketing department and don't understand the sales department, and again, IT, etc., etc. So we need to have the common goal and not thinking about only war and our misunderstandings and our disconnections. No, we are going to deliver value together, not separately. Don't fight. Do you have this struggle? I'm very curious, like war between departments. Some of you. Think how to overcome it. 9th, traditional contracts. What are traditional contracts? They are just focused on fixed time, fixed scope, and fixed budget. Do you have them with your customers? Yes. And those contracts, they will shape your process as well. Yes, we have fixed scope, so we need to deliver exactly what is stated. What you can do instead? Agile contracts. Agile contracts. Do you have experience with agile contracts? Some of you, yeah? Are they working? We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully yes. Hopefully yes. So again, goals. That would be one of the remedy. That's a spoiler. Goal, common mutual goal can be a remedy for it. So think about having your contracts and how to make them more agile. Also, there are entire books about it. There are several people that they have experience in signing up these contracts. Actually, my first agile contract was signed up in 2010. So if you have a why, we can discuss it later on, like in details, what can be done. Number 10th, limited collaboration with customers and users. So we assume that something will be working without our customers and users. So we are implementing our assumptions instead of implementing what is really needed for customers and users. This is something that we are trying to overcome very often, but still, in especially large environments, especially in large corporate environments, still this is something that is missing. This collaboration with customers and users is missing, and it's connected to agile transformation, because once you have happy and engaged customers and users, you will increase your value, and according to some research also, you can increase business value. Yeah, business value is connected with customer and user value. So it's worth to do it. It's worth to think about it. Number 11, low employees engagement. Why employees are so important in agile transformation? Stupid question, but yeah, they are also customers of the agile transformation. And according to another research, employees that are engaged, empowered, and happy, they are 20% more effective. I don't want to use the word productive because it might be connected with resource utilization, and I don't want to discuss this topic at all, of course. We are talking about effectiveness rather than utilization. So engage employees. They need to understand what we are moving towards agility. Why? Because people, they, like as employees, sometimes they don't understand why is this change is going to happen. Why? What's going on in the organization? Oh yeah, they came up with some changes again in the structure. They came up again with some new approaches, or they hired a new agile coach or a new scrum master. Why? We don't need it. Maybe you need it, maybe you don't. What you need to do, you need to explain to people why we are changing, because this is what they are missing, this is what they are lacking. When I discuss it with teams, they don't sometimes know why is the new tool is employed in the organization, why those roles are here, why we have those workshops. They don't know. That's why we need to explain them why. And one of the last I prepared, of course, because there are more reasons, of course. This is low tolerance for experiments and learning in the organization. So actually people say, okay, we have A/B tests and that's our experimentation. But I'm not talking here about product experimentation only. I'm talking here about organizational experimentation. And organizational experimentation is something connected, for example, to changes the entire organization and their structure. So this is what you can rethink. If my organization is going to experiment with the structure, with moving, for example, from projects to products, so that would be something that we can call experimentation on the organizational level. Of course, product experimentation is always welcomed, always. However, I'm thinking right now about organizational experiments. An organization, when they are changing their structure, they think, okay, we've changed it, but this is not an experiment, and this is not something that they learned from. This is something that they just decided to do so. So also, some more maybe information we can share later on. So what to do with that? What would be the potential remedy? Remember, this is not the recipe. This is the remedy. You can think about it and you can try to maybe incorporate in your environment. I would be happy if you can share later on if it was helpful. So, first of all, the remedy is, remember about those 3 levels: mindset, strategy, and operational. This is the concept, I'm working on it. And this is what also I would like to encourage you to think about agility as your DNA, as on this video. DNA. Agile is in my DNA. Think about it. And that would be also helpful to just introduce some concepts or rethink it or discuss with some other people, like people from C-level or teams or whoever is needed in your transformation to be involved and engaged. It should be in our DNA if we want to, really want to change the organization and have some reasons. Okay. So now it's a summary what we said about remedies, right? We are working on mindset, right? Remember about 3 levels. Mindset is the most important, so just do it. Just try to just teach people. I'm teaching, maybe let them experience, that would be the better word. Let them experience understanding of complexity and empiricism and agility. That would be something that could help you. Another just remedy, or maybe tip, would be transformational goals. Do you have them? One person. Transformational goals can be very impactful. They can overcome your wars between departments, your contracts, your structures, and that would be something that you can start with the goal. And that would be also incorporated the answer to the question why we are moving toward agility, why we are doing it at this moment. Well, in the goal, that would be because we want to improve this, and that. And top management, this is what we discussed here very, very broadly, right? I was talking several times and emphasizing it here several times, but top management is really actively involved, and that's one of the crucial things, or decision makers. And another set of remedies. This is also what we discussed, but let's summarize it. That would be something related, of course, to customer, be value-oriented, more value, more business value, right? More customer value. Learning organization. This is something also we discussed before, but maybe you've never heard this term. So this is the organization that wants to experiment, right? With on their agility path. They want to experiment. And learning findings, experimentation is really welcome. And culture and employees work on people empowerment. When we are talking for instance, about product owners, let them be product owners, not the backlog managers or scribes or user story writers. When we are thinking about Scrum Masters or Agile coaches, let them help running this Agile transformation, and not only using them for facilitating meetings, right? That can be just one of examples. Dear all, this is like the last quote for today from my side. Then will be questions. And the quote is by George Bernard Shaw, and it's progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Again, mindset. I like this quote very much. So thank you. And right now, that would be time for questions, if you have, of course, any. Thank you.
So, time for questions. The first one. How to act when all 12 reasons are at your company? Is there a chance of success at this point? How would you begin?
Yeah. First of all, I would pay attention to decision makers and middle management. How are they involved? If they are completely not involved, I would ask the person who is from this level and who is the real person who can support us. And that's how we can gain their attention, because it will be spreading among middle management and maybe C-level, depends on the organization. Sometimes we perceive it as impossible. We have all 12 reasons, of course, as I mentioned, there are many more than 12. And we think, okay, we're stuck. And we are working in international environment and decision makers are somewhere abroad, etc. Don't stop, try. Don't stop. Try. That would be the huge satisfaction if you will be successful. So try to connect with those decision makers you have access to, and then try to convince them or make changes together with them if possible, and measure. Well, this is what I mentioned before during the very beginning of the talk. Measure everything, what you can, what is helpful, what is not helpful, don't measure. But when it comes to Agile transformation, what we can measure? As I mentioned before, business value, customer satisfaction, maybe some other factors, of course, and to show that it's worth our organizational attention. Hope it helps. Just, I don't know your exact, of course, situation, and it's difficult to give advice so very quickly, but this is what I would do.
Okay, so the next one. If transformation never ends, how do you work with leaders on target dates when they ask you, the consultant, when will the transformation?
I don't work on target dates. If I understood it correctly, right? Target, I don't work on it. I work on transformational goals. What are you going to achieve? And there is no schedule for Agile transformation like in a waterfall approach. Agile transformation is complex itself. And when it's complex itself, you cannot work like in the traditional project management approach. You need to employ Agile approach. And I just don't agree on dates, and I don't agree with something that could be project like-minded. I just agree on goals and effects. What are we going to measure, right? And measuring mostly effectiveness of teams, business value, customer value, outcomes, customer outcomes. Depends on what is the goal, why organization wants to be transformed.
I think that you already answered the next question, so share some transformation goal with their measures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Working on mindset feels like a very fluffy remedy. How would you do this in practice?
Mm-hmm. So mostly I'm asking questions. Questions like why we are going to change, or why are you going to change? Why? What is the reason? Yeah. You hired Scrum Masters, you hired me as a consultant, or you hired Agile coaches, you are running some courses, training for your people, and sometimes they don't know the exact answer, really. And they think, okay, because it's fashionable, because all companies in my environment, they do this. No, that's not the answer. Why? What would you like to achieve by agility, actually? What is the reason? And this is how we can start the conversation working on mindset and showing always examples, yeah? This is empirical, this is predictive. And when we are in this need of the Agile transformation, we cannot predict everything, otherwise we don't need Agile. So what are we going to achieve by this? And empirical approach and empiricism, how we are going to apply it. So show examples. Be just yourself, I would say, and just explain how and why people are changing. Or also I give examples from other organizations also that can be helpful at some point, depends on who is the person you are going to discuss and work on. Hope it helps.
One more. Many transformations don't fall because they don't admit it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
of course,
how do you make the leadership aware of this?
Mm-hmm. Also by sharing data, sharing some visible data that we collected and asking, would it be helpful if we change anything here? Is it okay for you to have those numbers? Yeah, so measuring again, measuring, that would be something. Sometimes if they don't admit, okay, they just don't admit. You know what you know, and sometimes we need to leave them with this kind of thinking.
Okay, the very last question. Is it ethical to help with transformation when we know that most of them fail?
Mm-hmm. I believe yes, because when your approach is that we want to help, not to be hurtful. So when we know it, it's not non-ethical, I believe, and that would be the huge satisfaction for you if you will be successful. Remember, I'm not going to discourage you. I'm going to encourage you, actually, and think about it in this term rather, that it's always worth to change something in the organization. Always, always. Even if you make your, for example, two teams' life easier and happier and maybe more agile. It is a small step toward your success, yeah? And in terms of course, agility. Hmm?
Thank you very much. There is a lot of more questions, but
yes,
during the coffee break. So
yeah.
thank you for Magda. Applause.
Thank you so much again.